Hey, maybe it's working. Hopefully it's working. It says it's streaming, so here we go. Doodaloo. So I'm doing dual monitors for the first time, so I'm kind of curious what this is going to look like. Um, yeah, maybe it will look good, maybe not. But here what I'm going to be doing is recording an Egghead IO lesson about, yeah, there it is. Oh, snap. It actually doesn't look terrible. Yeah, it actually looks fine. My left monitor looks ridiculously small, but never fear, I'm going to bump up the font sizes of some stuff. So, yeah, let me turn the audio off of that. So I will have the chat room open. I could probably pause the video too. I'll have the chat open, and so if you want to chit chat with me, that's cool. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up the display or the resolution on this screen so that you can see it a little bit better. I'm kind of curious what that's going to make things look like. Hopefully not terrible. Let me just move this guy over here. Here, and I'm going to play here to make sure all that's set up. So pretty much at the beginning of my videos, you should just, of these streams, just ignore it because I'm just setting things up and I don't know what I'm doing. So, okay, cool. I think that I'm ready to get started on recording this lesson. So, before I record a lesson, I've got just this Jest tutorial thing that I'm going to be using, and I actually just recorded a coverage, a lesson earlier today, this morning, and so I am on the next thing. We're adding watch, and yeah, it's going to be sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and actually reset hard, and we'll check out the O3 coverage. Then I'm going to pull up the git diff on this monitor so I make sure I've already done the work. I know what I'm going to be doing, so I just like to have the diff up here so that I can compare and make sure that things are going to work. But let's see, I just got distracted by something. Cool. So I was messing around with stuff, and I'm pretty sure that adding coverage to watch is just kind of noisy and not necessary. So I'm probably not going to do that. And then this is to demonstrate that adding tests, it will actually by default only run like on the files that you actually changed since the last commit, which is pretty rad, super cool. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of talking in this one, just kind of explaining. Let me just demo to you really quick what it's all about. So here, all that we need to do to add code cover or to add watch mode is I'm going to add a script called watch test, and here we're going to just say jest dash watch, and then we'll run npm run watch test. And this will start Jest in watch mode, and holy moly, is it awesome. So by default, it will run only the tests that are impacted by files changed since the last commit, which is super cool. And actually, if you look at the documentation here, the watch command actually has pretty much no documentation whatever. It's just this is how you do it, but doesn't say like what the interactive mode does. The nice thing is that it's actually really well documented here anyway, and so like it's kind of intuitive, but I did want to be able to understand kind of how things work, and so I had to dig into the source code and stuff to kind of get an idea of how things work, and I've got a couple of fancy things that I discovered from that I'll be able to share in the video. But yeah, sometimes you just have to dive into the source code. And let me pause that again. Again, if you are watching and you want to ask a question or something, I'll have the chat open occasionally to see that. If there's a way that I can like only make it, yeah, wave. Hi there. Yeah, if I could make it only show the chat, that would be cool, but whatever. Yeah, cool. So let's see, what a couple other things that I was going to show is you can actually specifically say watch all. By default, it'll just do the only the ones that are changed. But here in this, like this is an interactive terminal, and so we can press A to run all of the tests, regardless of those that changed since the last commit. O to run the ones that were changed since the last commit. That's the default. Then you can also add a pattern. So you hit the letter P and then type like sum, like the only file. This is like pattern search by file name, which is kind of sad, but you know, that's what we got. So we specify sum as our pattern, and it will run the tests that are found inside of files that match that pattern. So it ran all the tests matching sum. And then that's actually pretty much it, but it's just so cool and it's super, super fast. And it also, like, it does work with coverage, but let me show you what it does when I'll hit Q to exit watch mode. If I add coverage here, or I'll just do npm run watch test, then pass along coverage, and it's kind of weird. So it's going to say I have 0 code coverage, and that's because it didn't actually run any tests, because no tests were impacted by my changes, because I have no changes except for in this package JSON. And so, yeah, so I got 0% code coverage, which is kind of like, that's not cool. I'm actually curious. It's only reporting 3 things that are below the coverage threshold, but I also have branches that are, oh, that's right, because I have no branches in the whole project, and so, yeah, that makes sense. So I have 100% of nothing. But yeah, I don't really see the value in the coverage thing, so yeah, that's just the way things are going to be. I actually just had an idea. I'm going to open up Franz, one of my favorite apps that I use often. This is like messaging for everything. I'm going to go to Discord and just let people know on the Jest channel of Discord that I'm doing this, and maybe somebody can answer questions that I have as I'm going or something. That would be sweet. Come on, Discord. So while that's loading, the thing that I like to do, oh, here we are. Go to Jest. So yeah, actually Franz is awesome. It has like messaging for all of these things. It's an Electron app, and I'm pretty sure that all it is an iframe for every one of these services. But it's really cool because it has like, it also does notifications, and it has these badges, and you can mute like different stuff, and yeah, it's cool. So yeah, let's go back to Jest and say, FYI, I'm streaming my recording of this video. This again, I have a video about watch. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what I do, what I've been doing recently as I've been recording stuff is I like to kind of write out what I'm going to say so that I'm not like stumbling and fumbling over my words. And so I'm going to pull up Sublime here, and I'm like, it really doesn't matter where it is. But here I'll just say what I want to say. So to start Jest in watch mode. Here, actually, Jest has an amazing watch interactive watch mode. To start Jest in watch mode, where you pass the dash watch flag. Let's add a script for called watch test, and pass in and specify the watch flag. Now if we run npm run watch test, and by the way, if you don't like typing like all that much stuff, there's actually this let's see, it's nr, but where does that go? I can't remember what package this is. Nope. npm quick run, I think. think is what it's called. Yeah, by Gleb Bombatov, who is like just the coolest person. I like him a lot. He does really cool stuff. But yeah, he has this module that lets you run things by their alias. And so here, watch test is the only one that is like starts with W. So I can say nrw, and that will run that command for me, which is pretty slick. But I prefer to avoid confusion in my video, so I'm not going to even talk on that. But I thought that y'all might be interested in that. Cool. I don't even know who that was, but I just got a Twitter notification from someone. I should probably turn my watch off so that I don't get distracted by Twitter, which often happens. Oh, sweet. Holy macaroni. Thanks for the retweets, friends. Nah, accepted. Okay, sweet. So, great. Now I'm like all kinds of nervous because people might actually be watching. How many? We got 6 people watching right now. Cool. So this is what I'm gonna do. Go back to my Sublime and write out just kind of a scripty thing that I can just kind of read out sort of and type at the same time kind of. So yeah, let's add a script called watch test, specify the watch flag. Now if we run npm run watch test, that will start the interactive shell, like interactive. What is that even the right word for it? Interactive shell. It's like not a REPL. Yeah, I guess. Is this an interactive shell? Somebody tell me if that's the wrong word in the chat. I'll be watching the chat, but that's what I'm going to say. I guess it's sort of an interactive shell. I don't know. So it's like the interactive watch mode. Maybe that's what I'll say instead. Watch mode. By default, Jest is intelligent and can detect which files have been changed. Or let's see. Jest will only run tests found related to files changed since the last commit. If it looks like I was basically writing this down, that's exactly what I was doing, because it makes sense. Jest is intelligent and can detect which files have been, and can detect that we're in a Git repo, and it uses, it references the files changed, and it looks for the most recent commit and detects the files that have been changed since then, and only runs. I'm basically like saying the same thing twice. Git commit. Yep, we'll just do that. This is a pretty amazing feature, especially when you're anybody chatting? Somebody tell me that interactive shell was the right thing. This is a pretty amazing feature, especially when you're developing in a large code base with lots of tests. But if you want to run all of the tests, you can press A to run them as it says here. And I'll highlight this. Boom. And let's see. So I'll press A. I'll just assume that people know what I'm talking about when I say that. So let's see. But if you want to run all the tests, you can press A to run them as it says here. I have to wait So you can press A to run all the tests as it says here, and then I'll press A, and we'll scroll this up because pretty much the whole lesson, well, most of the lesson is the interactive terminal or interactive watch mode. So cool. Then you can go back. Let's see. Just the watch mode will watch the file system for relevant changes and rerun your tests automatically. When there are changes, for example, and we'll add, well, probably better have it showing up at the same time, otherwise people will miss it. And so we'll say, okay, I want to actually change this to be 3 and 4. And we hit save and it reruns the tests. Again, we can verify that it had our new changes, and I could probably scroll that up right there. Cool. And then let's see, watch mode will watch the file system for relevant changes and rerun your tests automatically when there are changes. So let's test that out by changing this sum test to add 1 and 3 to get 4. And I'll save the file, and the Jest reruns our tests for us. Okay, sweet. I don't need to save this. I will copy it to my forever clipboard that I get from Alfred, which is super awesome. And that live underscore thing right there, that's my streaming key. I'm not going to show you. Okay, so and I'll save the file, just reruns our test for us. Yeah. If for some reason Jest doesn't rerun your tests for you, then just hit the enter key and that will trigger a rerun. Like this. And then I'll hit the enter key. Boom. Okay, so far so good. Let's see. We can also specify a pattern. So let me think about the other things I want to cover. So p pattern, and the only change but last commit. I think that's what it was called. Now I cannot recall last commit. Let's see, it was right. Search source. No, it was get.js. I can't remember now. I might just have to do another search. Last commit. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Okay, yeah. So you can specify argv.last commit. Yeah. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So by default, it just uses head to know what the last commit was, but you can actually specify a last commit, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, and also want to show only related changes to O. Yeah, default. And then Q to quit stuff. Okay, so let's see, actually probably specifying O would be the next good thing. Let's go ahead and start writing new tests. We'll start by hitting the O key to run only changed tests, or only the tests related to changed files. Default, or like my brain. Okay, no, not P. So O. Okay, that didn't. Oh, because I changed those files. So I'll have to. Let's see. And we'll go ahead and undo these changes in this file. Okay, so I'll do that. Man, my brain. And then I'll undo these changes and save. And now it's going to say there are no tests. Then I will create a new file. Next, we'll create a new file to test this subtract.js module. I'll probably just say subtract module. And we'll call it subtract.test.js. Say subtract.test.js. And oh, that's interesting. So notice that the file was created, and because there aren't any tests in here, it's gonna blow up. Probably should mention that elephant in the room. So, and with that new file, our our tests are rerun, and just blows up because this file has no tests in it. Okay, great. So let's put one in there. Make it a little conversational. So let's see. We'll just copy the sum test and change some bits here. We'll have it subtract 3 from 2. We'll say copy that, paste that there, rename this to subtract. I probably should say that here. We'll rename sum to subtract, and we'll say, and we'll say it subtracts 3 minus 2 to equal 1. There we go. I'll just copy that because I'm lazy. Paste that there. And replace this. Replace that. Boom. And our tests are passing. And now we'll save our file. And now our tests are passing. Okay, sweet. Let me, I totally forgot to be considerate. No chats. It's lonely in the chat room. Okay. And our tests are passing. Sweet. Let's see. So now, but let's say we still want to run. Yay, CNW underscore said hi. Hello. I just waved, but my camera's not on, so yeah, just believe me. Okay. So let's say we still want to run, or let's say we want to, we want to run the sum tests. Hey, it's Christoph. Hi there. So let's say we want to run the sum tests. Christoph, let me know if I'm doing anything wrong or if there's anything else that I could do to feature Jest's amazing watch mode. Oh, I'm so glad, Christoph. CNW. Cool. Oh, cool. You're the Formally guy. Hooray. Yeah, I streamed on Twitch once or twice before. It's a cool place. So if I want to just run the sum tests, but not the entire suite, Sweet. Sweet. Is it sweet with an E? Spell sweet. That's rooms, and that's suit. Sweet. Boy, I don't know. Suite of tests. Google that. Yeah, okay. Test suite. Yeah, I don't know how to spell. I wouldn't call it awesome yet. This is just the basic watch mode, but I'm hoping to make it even better eventually, but thanks. That's what Christoph said. And Christoph, you are a humble person because this is amazing. I'm really, really looking forward to whatever you have in mind in the future. But so far, this is so cool. The one thing that I don't think that I'm highlighting in here that I should figure out a way to highlight is that it's not just detecting the files that changed that are relevant, or like the test files that changed and running all of those, but it'll also detect if I change source files that are used in test files. And even like, this is just so mind-boggling, but like, I don't have an example of this right now, but if I had a separate file that the sum file used and I changed that separate file, then the sum test would run because Jest is smart enough to track the dependency tree. So I should probably have an example of that. Yeah, maybe I should. I should probably set that up first because that dependency tree magic would be really cool. So let's see. I'm going to add a new file called add one, or here we'll do get adder.js. This is like the weirdest thing. So we're gonna say we're gonna import sum from sum and get adder. So what we're gonna export, and we're going to take in. Actually, we'll take an A. Return a function that takes a B and uses sum to add A and B. There we go. So like kind of a ridiculous module, but hey, like it's cool. And then, yeah, and then we'll go ahead and write some tests for this. So new file, get adder.test.js. And we'll go to our sum.test. We'll copy this one. We'll paste it here. Get adder. Well, actually, const adder equals get adder of 1 returns a function that it's like a fancy, or not a fancy, but like a naive curry kind of thing. So it returns a function that accepts a single thing to be added. I don't know. Yeah, so we'll get adder add 1, and we'll say add 1 to 2 to be 3. Cool. So now we have this module that depends on another module. And I'm going to go ahead and get remove subtract test here, delete that. And let's see. I'm going to get stash all this stuff, get checkout, egghead 04, get stash pop. Can I force? No, I don't know how to use get. Okay, so we've got just that. Change this thing. We have the adder and the adder test. We run npm t to run our test just to make sure everything's great. Stuff is not great. Things are bad. Can't find model. Oh, whoops. Get adder. There we go. Good thing I ran the test. Okay. And subtract is not. But it looks like we're still good because we're increasing coverage. Sweet. So let's go ahead and git commit all the things. Add adder.js, or get adder rather. Okay, now we can do some cool stuff. So actually, let me remove this, git amend, one of my favorite aliases. It's git commit amend no edit, or it's commit all the things amend no edit. Yeah, git amend. And so now if I with that, whoa, what just happened? If I say just -- watch, then I can say npm or nr watch test, and we'll go into watch mode. Why is this still green in my editor? I don't know. Okay, I think I know why. Because I didn't stage it. And so my commit didn't work. Okay, git add, amend. Okay, now if I go back in here, it's no longer green. Okay, so now if I nr, oh, actually, there we go. Okay, sweet. So now if I nr watch test, okay, we're in, like this is, I just barely cloned and I started watch mode, nothing runs, that's what you should expect. And then here's the real kicker. So adder runs, or depends on the sum module, and it has some tests of its own. So if I change adder, like I'll just add a line even, then it's going to rerun the adder tests. That makes sense. If I remove that change, then it's no longer going to run those. But it's super cool because Jest knows when I change a module that adder depends on, it will rerun adder's tests, and then it also reruns sum's tests because sum has tests. But isn't that like the coolest thing ever? It reruns these tests. So Ava actually has an intelligent watch mode like this as well, but its watch mode starts out by running all of your your entire suite of tests, and then it'll track your dependencies and stuff. And I was totally blown away by that. But adding into the whole mix, the git diff stuff is just like mind blowing because like with a big code base with Ava, it can be kind of slow. And so I wouldn't even bother. I would just like say, okay, Ava, run this specific file in watch mode. And so like now I don't have to worry about performance because like it'll just literally just rerun the tests that are relevant to the changes that I'm making, which is super cool. And then I can always just rerun all the tests, which is awesome. Okay, great. So I'm glad that I did that so I can demonstrate that capability. So how am I going to talk about that? So we'll copy the sum test and change some bits here. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, okay. So it's amazing watch mode. So Christoph, you wouldn't want me to call it amazing. Has a basic, shoddy. No, I'm gonna call it amazing. Yeah. And like it's just so cool. To start Jest in watch mode, pass watch flag. We did that. Default only files related to, especially when you're working a large. But if you want to run all the tests, yeah, I think we're gonna do that later. I'm gonna just talk about this cool thing. Yeah, so Christoph, I'd be really interested in what these amazing features or these upcoming features that will make this more amazing will be, because yeah, I can't even imagine, but I'm sure you have some really cool ideas. Okay. One of the coolest parts about it is that Jest is intelligent enough to track dependencies. Here, so actually, we'll do this. Let's explore this feature a little bit. Okay, so we'll explore the feature a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and quit this, and we'll rerun the watch mode. Yeah, so no tests. Let's explore this feature a little bit, and then I'll go into the get adder test, and I'm just gonna add a new line here, and I'll hit save, and it's gonna rerun that test because that test was changed. But one thing that's really great about, or let me write this down before I forget like what I'm talking about. Let's explore this feature a little bit. So let's add a line, or let's change the get attr test.js file by adding a single line and saving that. You'll see that it runs the get attr.test.js tests. Here, we'll just say get attr tests. If I remove that line, I'm back to where where I was before. No, that's kind of dumb. Habit. Okay, so then I'll remove that line. Let's remove that and just we'll not find any tests relevant. I don't know. Now, if we revert that and instead add a line to the get attr module itself. So we'll say, okay, now we'll go to the get attr module itself and make a change. Then save that. The tests will the get attr tests will rerun here as well. Okay, so we'll add a new line, hit save. Tests rerun here as well. Now this get attr module depends on sum, and if someone comes in to the project and breaks sum and changes sum in a way that breaks get attr. Let's see. Oops. The sum module. Let's go ahead and make a change to that module by replacing plus with minus. Okay, so we'll do that. I'll save this again. We'll go to sum and we'll replace plus with minus and hit save. Now this will be confusing because now, well, yeah, okay, get attr. So let's see. This will result in just identifying two test suites to run. Are these called suites? Like each file, is that called a test suite? Or like, what is a test suite? Should I call these files test suites, or is this entire thing a single test suite and these are tests within the test suite? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, this will result two tests. I'll just say tests, two test files. Naming, yeah, it is a little confusing. So we'll just say two test files to run. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, describe blocks are, that makes more sense to me that a describe block would be a suite, but I don't like describe blocks. So I think I'll just say the whole thing is a describe block. And so a file is a suite. Cool. So I'm going to say two test suites. This will result in just identifying two test suites to run. And one of those being the sum.test.js file, and the other Bing get adder.test.js. This is fantastic because this is possible because Jest is intelligent, and after identifying the files that changed, it walks the dependency tree for those files to determine the relevant tests to rerun. A pretty amazing feature. That's just kind of words. Cool. That's so cool. Okay. So then we'll kind of switch gears, but sometimes you want to run all of the tests. You can, to do this, you simply press A to rerun, or to run them as it says here. Okay, so I'll probably say test to rerun. Let's see. Let's go ahead and reset everything and restart watch mode. Okay, so I'll say, okay, let's go ahead and stop here, git reset hard, and npm run watch test. And something broke. What did I do? Oh, haha, because I totally blew away my watch command. Okay, let's not do that. Watch test and just watch. There we go. Okay. And oh, you know what? I totally forgot to do this. I like to try and like practice in the same kind of environment that I have when I'm actually doing like my recording. And so I, inside of my Atom editor settings in my styles.less, I have this really fancy CSS that's not really fancy at all, but it bumps up my font size and my icon size and everything. So yeah, so it's easier for people to see stuff, and especially like this stuff on the side here. So cool. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this npm debug just because I can. Great. So we'll get things reset and restart the watch mode. So actually what I'll do is, I think just the sum, this will be that's what it's going to be at the time that I say this. So I'm just going to say, okay, let's fix that. So let's go ahead and fix sum to make everything happy again. That if anybody has suggestions on a better thing to say, I'm all ears. Okay. Oh, actually, Christoph, I know something that you could do to make the watch mode even better. Make it so, I don't know if you were watching earlier when I was kind of complaining about watch mode plus code coverage. I actually mentioned this whole thing in Discord a little bit. Oh, hey, there you are. Change files in Miracle. Coverage shouldn't really be used with only changed. You'll never get a complete picture of your app. Very true. I recommend coverage to only be used when running all tests. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I could totally send a PR to document it. I have another idea, Christoph. I'll make this really cool video on Egghead to talk about it. No, just kidding. Maybe I'll do both. Haha. Yeah, let's document those. Yeah, actually, that would be great if we could have one page that shows all the CLI arcs. Now, there is, we run, actually, fun fact, so my path includes node modules, and so I can say which Jest, and boom, it's right in my node modules bin. So kind of dangerous because like something could overwrite ls, so you want to make sure you set up your path correctly. But if I do, or let's see, echo path, boom. So where is it? It's somewhere in here. Node modules bin. Yeah. And then I have like some more custom stuff. But yeah, it's super cool because now I can use any node module binary, which is pretty fun. So anyway, I can say just help, and I get a whole bunch of great things. This isn't even where I found last commit. I found last commit from like source code when I was looking up watch all or something like that. Pretty cool, but I should probably like look into some more of these because I'm sure there's some other cool things that I could figure out in here to do. Collect coverage from. That's something interesting to look at too. Okay, cool. So great. So let's go ahead and fix some. Oh yeah, that would be a good thing, Christoph, to alphabetize those two. So much work to do. This is so cool. Okay. Sometimes you want to run all the tests. Here, yeah, we'll go back into watch mode. npm run watch test. Determining test suites to run. It runs all of them that were relevant to changes. There are no changes relevant, so it doesn't run any. Okay. Sometimes you want to run all of the tests. To do this, you simply press A to run them as it says here. Press A to run all the tests. So then it runs all of the tests in our project. Then Jest will run all the tests it finds in your project, and you're good to go. Or let's see, just as if we had run our test script. The watch mode will also watch the file system for relevant changes and rerun your tests automatically. So actually, I've got a question for you, Christoph. So when I press A, does that switch me to like a totally different context where I'm like, okay, now you're in run all mode? I'm guessing that's the case. So if I add a new line here, I'm in run all mode. Is that, how would you use words to explain that? That kind of like scenario? Is that like context or mode? So yeah, I'm trying to think of. Note that when you do this, Jest will note that this puts you in run all mode. Thank you, Christoph. This puts you in a run all mode where any change will result in running all of the tests. You can switch back to the only changed mode by typing the letter O as it says here with a little highlight. So then we'll go to that. Great. Pretty sure that this I kind of explained already. And I'll probably demonstrate that somehow here. Like this. And then I'll say, okay, yeah, like this. I'll make a change and they'll see that. You can switch back to the only change mode by typing the letter O as it says here. So let's test that out. No. Okay. I actually am not, so you can switch back to only mode, but I'm not going to switch back. I'm just going to highlight that. The fact that there are 3 new lines here hurts me more than you can imagine. Makes my heart pound. 3 new lines, like right here? Or where? What new lines? I'm not sure what you're talking about. 3 new lines. I don't know. Yeah, so well, actually I won't go into the only, and then I'll just, yeah, so you can switch back to the only change mode by typing the letter O as it says here. If for some reason Jest doesn't rerun your test, then you can just hit the enter key and that will trigger a test trigger a rerun like this. Boom. Yeah. Oh, so like when you're right here and you're like those 3 new lines, I feel like that would be a pretty easy PR for the 7 other people or 6 other people who are watching this right now. So, Christoph, if you want to give somebody an opportunity to make a fairly trivial, I would expect a fairly trivial PR, then you could paste in the location in the code where they would make that change, and poof, you could get a pull request to make this not so ugly. Personally, I don't mind it, but yeah. Oh, already created an issue even. Yeah, somebody should do that. That's a fun thing to do, one of you 6 other people. Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's fun. Open source. Oh, might be tricky. Thanks a lot, Christoph. Dashing my dreams. Just kidding. Okay, so yeah, we got that. And then let's go ahead and start writing new tests. So we'll start by hitting the O key to return to run only mode. And then, well, no, we'll next, we'll create a new file to test the subtract module, and we'll call it subtract.test.js. And with that new file, our tests are rerun and just blows up. So actually, this would be a cool thing, Christoph, if when I add a new file, that the rerun mode, like it doesn't rerun the test, because like I just barely created a new file. There's like a very, very small edge case where that would actually result in a test existing in that file. So that would be a cool thing. So JS. So, but for now, I'm gonna have to say it detected this new file. It tried to run it, and there are no tests in here. So let's go ahead and add a new test. I'm gonna copy this one. Is that what I'm saying? And with that, blows up and no tests. So let's put one in there. We'll just copy the sum test and change some bits here. We'll rename sum to subtract. And we'll say it subtracts 3 minus 1 to equal, or let's see, I said 2 to equal 1. So we'll say 1 and 3. Whoops. 3 minus 2 equals 1. And boom, everything's working. We'll save our file, and now the tests are passing. Okay. But let's say we want to run the sum test, but not the entire suite. Let's see, the sum test, but not the entire. I feel like the pattern example would be better if I had a really big suite of tests, but I don't. So that's too bad. But when you switch branches, new files get created. You might, yeah, that's true. How would you solve that problem then? How about a newly created file that's empty? You don't rerun tests. Maybe that, yeah, something to chew on in your brain, I wonder. Yeah, interesting. That's a good point though, Christoph. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, so let's say we want to run the sum tests, but not the entire suite. No, not the entire test base. Am I the only one that uses that term? Like we've got a code base for source code. Yeah, I figured that, Christoph. Yeah, I could probably submit a PR for that. Something I should probably start out with. Of course you can, Christoph. You're so awesome. Yeah. So I should probably. Let's see. Yeah. So like you've got a code base and that's your source code, and then you have a test base and that's your test code. Am I the only one that uses that term? Somebody please tell me that I'm not the only one that uses the term test base. If at least one person says they've used or heard that term before, then I'll use it. But if not, then I think maybe I'll do something else. But not all of the other tests in your project. Let's say we want to rerun the sum test, but not all the other tests in your project. And we don't want to have to add a new line. This is why I need to have like a whole bunch of tests. But I think people will get the idea. We call it that in the native iOS world. Sweet. Okay, that's it. I accept it. So not the entire test base. To do this, we can use the pattern option. Or let's see, we'll use we can hit the P key to specify a pattern for the file name, like this. Okay, so to do this, well, we can hit the P key to specify a pattern for the file name, like this. And then, yeah, like this. Yeah, and I'll just hit P and then sum, and boom, it's running all of our sum tests and all the tests matching sum. And we are now in pattern mode. Yeah, I kind of like this mode. Let's call these things modes. Sinu, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, but yeah, my kids are in bed and my wife is actually not here, and I've got the baby monitor like right next to me and the door open, so if the kids like start crying, I can hear them. But luckily, this has been a really good night and they haven't caused any trouble. Cool. So we're now in pattern mode. If we had a large test base, or let's see, we'll use a different word just to kind of illustrate. If we had a bigger project with many tests, we could do fancy, I'm guessing these are glob patterns. So p s star dot test dot js, boom, get, oh, because it's all in source. Fantastic. So if I say source s star dot test dot js, nope. Integrate Jest with baby monitors. That would be funny. That's hilarious. That's funny. Okay, so Christoph, maybe you could fix the test. There's something wrong with my test? Oh, yeah, fix the test. We're talking about something else. Okay, so if I say pattern, I want to run both the sum and subtract tests. So this pattern, I'm guess, oh, is it a regex? No, that's not no. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's a regex. That's good. So we'll say source or s.star.test.js. This will probably match source files though. So it'll be src. Yeah, it actually does stick around. DB Grandi. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. But yeah, it does. So I just I have ran all test matching this pattern. If I hit enter again, then I stay in that mode. So every single time I hit enter or when I save a file, then it's going to rerun those tests because I'm in that mode. Good question. Great. So if I want to say src and then s.star.test.js. Sweet. Okay, so now I'm just running the subtract and test. Okay, so if we had a bigger project with many tests, we could specify. Christoph, have you thought about doing globs instead of regex? I feel like glob is really common for file names and stuff, and regex is less so. And maybe it's just because I don't know. I guess regex is probably more powerful. Yeah, I'm curious of what Facebook's use case for regex versus glob would be. Yeah, but for me, if we had a bigger project with many tests, we could specify I should probably say eventually switch over to globs much more slowly than regex. That makes sense. Yeah. Facebook problems, man. I'll tell you. Big problems. Okay, cool. But you developed some pretty awesome stuff, and I love using it. Okay, specify a pattern for the file name like this. A pattern. I'm going to say a regex. That will make it immediately apparent what I'm doing. And we are now in the pattern mode. If we had a bigger project, Here, and actually maybe I should be more specific because DB Grandi had that question. So maybe when I talk about modes, well, no, this is a fine place to say it. So as I make changes, it will only run actually, I'll explain that here in a little bit after I do a more advanced pattern. If we had a bigger project with many tests, well, no. So we could just say, we can change the pattern to match both the sum and subtract tests by specifying src escape and then s.star.test.js. Boom. Is that what I specified? Yeah, that's what I said. Now, as we make changes, now our pattern will, or let's see, yeah. Now, as I make, it doesn't matter in this case, let's see. There are other config options that we heavily use. Interesting. Okay, now as I make changes to the, okay, question. So I'm guessing that only the relevant file, or only the tests are run for when these two test suites need to be run. So if I change this and hit save, it's not, rats. All right, that's another thing to make this even more awesome, is if there was some way to detect what your files matching that pattern are and only run tests that are relevant to those. That would be sweet. Yeah, okay, I won't mention that. Okay, so now as I make changes to the files, only tests, only test matching this pattern will be rerun. Cool. Wait, it does that. Okay, well, let's see here. So I've got, it's matching sum and subtract here, just those two tests. Change another file in your repo. So yeah, if I go to getAdder.js, and this is not dependent, it depends on sum, but nothing else depends on it. And if I save it, it's going to rerun all my tests, even though it's not relevant to any of my tests. Yeah. So either that's a bug or maybe like I'm misunderstanding something or something. But yeah, change plus pattern doesn't work. Not yet. Maybe later. Hopefully. Yeah, that would be a cool feature. Make it even more awesome. Very confusing to people. I don't know. It seems kind of intuitive to me, but yeah, something to think about too. I don't know. That would just be super cool, because now if I'm like, I could envision myself in a big project having some scripts that are like, okay, this only runs, I don't know, let's say it's like one big project that has like shared Redux reducers, or I don't know, something really weird. Yeah, you know that it's probably not a good idea when you're coming up with a really contrived example, but like I could say, okay, everything that's in my action creators folders or something, I want to have rerun. So I could have like a script that is explicit, like just for rerunning those in Watchmode. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably pretty like over contrived. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, only things running that. Yeah, it kind of feels intuitive to me, but yeah, intuition, it's a silly thing. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is what last commit is, but maybe I should talk about that earlier. Here, so yeah, let's go ahead and fix them, make everything happy again. One other handy feature is that you can specify the commit to compare changed files against. By default, Jest references head to find the files that have been changed. But if we run git log, so here, let's do that. Okay, we're gonna delete this right now. We'll run git log and go down to where we made a change to our sum and select commit a few commits back. I don't really need to say what commit it is, but we'll just select a few commits back. And then we run npm watch test, run watch test, and we forward along last commit and paste that as our last commit. Then it will include our stuff. No file stream. What? Test path pattern. Okay. I'm doing something wrong here because I totally tried this earlier. Well, let's see. Let's do the words here really quick. To find the files that you have been changed, but we run git log, select a few commits back. Actually, let's just do a fancy. Here, let's see. Just help. Last commit. Yeah, that's what it is. So it's npm run watch test last commit. What am I doing wrong? So, run watch test last commit. Oh, please tell me this will work. That would be cool. Nope. What am I doing wrong? Christoph, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I thought that worked. Let's just try with Jest. Watch last commit. Huh. It's a Boolean. Well, I'll have to look into this later. My wife just got home and I'm going to hang out with her. So that was fun. I'm going to save that for later. And I'll see y'all later. Hopefully I'll have this video done sometime soon. I actually do have a video on code coverage and it's going to be approved and published tomorrow. So keep an eye out. Follow me on Twitter because I'll definitely be tweeting about it. So anyway, that was fun. Thanks for chiming in, Christoph. Really, really appreciate your feedback. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.